cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny. I am your host, and I am here with my co-host, Caleb.
Yo!
And, of course, before we get too far in, you already know it's coming. We're going to do some patron names. So, a huge thank you to Cam Yang. If you ever feel useless, just remember, there's a Shadal field spell.
There is!
I thought you'd like that. Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Gate Guardian Support, HGH Cyber, Josh Rosen, Marshawn Jones, Zyphorus, Yeet the Feet, Zephyrus, AD, Anthony Leela, Blackwing, Silverwind, The Ascendant is a Floodgate, Branded Fart, Damian Zink, Dank Nugs, Earth Machine, Best Deck. Here, Caleb, hold this L while I tindangle these nuts up on your chin. Hashtag Justice for Sunny. You know what? I don't know what it's even been referenced to, but it's funny. I am McLincoln, Mountain Man, Mystic Mine, and Dino is exceptional. Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Pig, Rudolph, Tierlement, Sprite. Wake up, bro. We gotta leave for Edison. The Hoover Dam is a floodgate. Unbanned number 95. Konami, understanding and reading are two different things. Virtually Savior's World, Zingis Khan, Aaron Gardner, Appaloosa episode inbound. Appaloosa is the one true floodgate. Asami, Demolition Beaver, the Floodgate Destroyer, Dragon Maidenless Behavior, Jerry Beansman, Nordic Best Deck, Old Man Red, Pin Code 143, Praise be to Mystic Mine, our Lord and Savior, Ray Powell, Shockmaster did nothing wrong, Slaking it up, Stank Taters. Wait, what? There's no way I can legally say that. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the podcast. And of course, don't forget, if you want to support the podcast for shopping for things you'd already be shopping for, you can do it at no extra cost to yourself by clicking the TCG Player affiliate link in the description down below before you shop. Also, if you're going to order some cool sleeves or binders or deck boxes online, you can click on our Dragon Shield affiliate link down below and get this awesome hand shuffle sound out of some awesome Dragon Shield sleeves. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check TCG Player out, Dragon Shield out in the description down below. And lastly, of course, let's thank Milennium Threads. Milennium Threads is an Etsy shop where you can go online and you can order all kinds of different Yu-Gi-Oh! Apparel, such as hoodies, t-shirts, and hats, as well as you can also get patches. It's all custom embroidered apparel, and I know that if you click on it, it might feel a little on the expensive side. Promise it's not. It's good, high quality stuff, and for custom, made to order, embroidered materials, it is very, very reasonably priced. So be sure to check out Milennium Threads and our TCG Player and Dragon Shield affiliate links. Now let's get on into the episode. So this episode, we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about something that might be a little bit closer than we realize. So we had a ban list back in May. The current ban list took effect on May 17th. So with today being July 29th, May 17th, you're looking at 2.5 months-ish. And that makes it to where we can expect in about a month to a month and a half at most that we're going to start seeing a ban list. So while it's a little bit early, I think that we can identify most of the problems of this format, a lot of which we talked about in the last episode. Take those problems, identify them, and move into addressing them, right?
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can go through and give some ideas and some suggestions for what we would do if we were going to be in charge of the ban list. Keep in mind that Tier Limit and Sprite have not released yet. So as a result, it might be different listening to this today on Friday, July 29th.
Then like 2 or 3 weeks from now when Sprites and Tier Elements have a chance to really do something.
Correct. So in, say, 3 weeks, if you're at a regional, you can expect to see a lot of Sprite and Tier Element. This weekend, you're not going to expect to see that.
Yeah, because I doubt people are going to be able to just drop... I don't even think like an individual shop, unless they have like a lot of people there, are even going to pull enough combined Sprite stuff to build more than maybe 1 or 2 Sprite decks fully.
It's less of that.
It's
Well,
even
some people have 2 or 3 or 4 shops that they go to.
which is fair.
For us, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
But people in big metro areas like New York, California, some places in Texas, Ohio.
Yeah, where they can literally just walk in one shop, buy in, get their packs, leave, go to a different shop, buy in, get their packs, leave, go to a different shop.
Right, where you can hit multiple pre-release events within a week. That makes it a little bit different. But for our purposes, it's going to be a little difficult. So what I'm going to say is our predictions might not hit Sprite and tier limit right now. But there is an outside chance that by the time the ban list rolls around, they could do something that maybe indirectly hits these decks.
Yeah, like hitting some of their tertiary...
something like Toad, Deep Sea Diva Limited, maybe, something like that.
Or like a Winda ban or something like that.
Right, exactly. I don't necessarily see any of those things happening at this time.
Just as examples.
Right. So why don't we talk about... Let's just do a little refresher on the things that we think are maybe the best decks and the problems within those decks right now.
Oh, yeah. Again, keep in mind, this is before Sprite and tier limit.
Right.
Yeah, we're probably going to say that 5 or 6 more times. Okay, so right now, in my opinion, the best decks are probably Sword Soul. Of course, that's like the best deck. Not the best deck in there, pretty close.
It's
like,
up there.
Yeah, like the Pump Synchro Pile.
Yes, for sure.
And I don't know what I would say is like even... I don't even know what I even say is the third. Oh, Despia. I keep forgetting about Despia.
Yeah, Despia is also a really good deck right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I've only had two duels against it.
We have not played much in the last 5 months.
Yeah. And like my two duels against it was like full power, ham to the wall. I was playing Dino, and they didn't really seem to do anything.
The thing about Despia is that their lines of play are not necessarily telegraphed so much as where you want to interrupt them is.
To be fair, again, I was on Dino.
True.
So it's just kind of like, okay, cool, that's cool. Yeah, that's good. Hand trap here. Oh, you're setting one and passing. Cool. And then near my turn, they just flipped Brandon and Red. I'm just like, target and grave, DD Grow.
Yeah, for sure.
And they just kind of cry, and I'm just like, make a big 3,500 bungus.
Let's go. So, with that said, identifying those as the top 3 decks, there are a few other like tertiary outside strategies that I want to talk about. So there's a lot of decks that are scythe locking still.
Ugh. Gross.
They're using Hauk, summoning TG Wonder Magician, and using TG Wonder Magician to pop the scythe.
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of decks right now that are playing a lot of floodgates, just because there's so many different floodgates that can support so many different strats.
Oh yeah. I'd say it's less of the floodgates are supporting the strategies, and more that the strategies are just unaffected by those particular floodgates.
Yeah, pretty much. So, with all of that said, why don't we get on into it?
Oh yes, son.
We can call this a ban list wish list because it's not really a prediction list, just wish.
Yeah. That sounds like a good episode title.
Yes. So, with that said, let's start with, I think we can both agree, Scythe has to go.
Oh yes, Scythe is... Listen, I used to Scythe lock people all the time back when I was playing PK.
Right.
PK, DPE, ABC, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have ABCs. And even back then I was like, I hate doing it. I hate it.
Feels bad, man.
It just I just feel bad whenever I scythe lock someone and I win because of exactly the scythe lock.
Exactly.
I'm just like, it just makes me feel bad.
Yeah, it's not a great feel.
No, I'm just like, because there's no there's no way you can even play into that, at least. You know what I mean?
Well, you can hit a Forbidden Droplet or Chalice, or if you don't have anything on board, an Imperm.
Or a Gamma, but that puts them on Do you have it? No. I win.
Right, exactly. Or call by. Call by also does it.
Again, same thing. Do you have the out? No. I win.
Pretty much. Right.
Instead of like in the case of other stuff that you could also do in PK, like, okay, I know for a fact that those two sets are both fog blades. I know you have this. I know you have this interrupt. You can play into that.
Right.
Try and play around it. There's interplay there. Not with Scythe.
No, none at all.
Like, the only interplay with Scythe is if you're playing Dino.
And then there's a little bit of maybe this and that and the other here and there, but for the most part.
Yeah, but like any deck that doesn't like immediately die because it doesn't have access to its extra deck.
Right.
Again, Dino.
So we can agree that Scythe has to go.
Yes.
But there's another card here that is enabling Scythe.
Yeah, and it's Dagda.
Oh, there's another card here that's enabling Scythe.
TG Wonder Magician.
There's a card that's summoning TG Wonder Magician because nobody's summoning it the hard way.
Fair enough. Yeah, no. I also think Halka-Fibrax has probably run its course.
I agree, and that's gonna feel kind of like a sprite hit, but I think that Halka-Fibrax is fine to go if we're being honest here.
Oh yeah, no. Like it's run its course, and it's got a lot of tuners banned.
Yes.
And they even brought Jet Synchron back alongside it, which is
wild
to me. After they just banned, I was fully expecting them to ban Despot next.
Yeah, I'm fine with Jet being back at 1, but I think that realistically,
I don't think Hulk and Jet Synchron should exist at the same time.
It's not even that. I think that Hulk on its own just enables so much.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with Hulk going, honestly. Even if they ban Scythe, ban Hulk too.
Because I also keep forgetting that in Punk Theory and something else they'll do, which is nasty, is after they spin their Regulus negate, they'll tag out the Halka-Fibrax into Formula Synchron, and then effective Formula to Synchro into
Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity.
Yeah. And just say, cool, you can't activate cards or summon monsters.
Right, which is wild.
So what can I do?
Exist?
No, you literally can't do anything. That literally locks you out of every single mechanic.
You can normal summon.
Can't summon monsters.
Wait, you can't. Say it again. You can't do what?
Summon monsters or activate cards.
You can't summon. You can set back row.
You can set back row, but you can't activate them.
That means Eldritch is really good.
You can't activate them.
You can on your next turn.
It's permanent as long as he's there.
What?
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way.
If I'm remembering correctly, to be fair, it's been 3 months. No, a month. 2 months. It's been a while.
When this card is synchro summoned, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards.
Oh, it's for the rest of this turn.
Also, cards your opponent controls cannot activate effects. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So yeah, you can summon monsters.
It's this turn.
You can summon monsters. You can set cards, and it's only till the end of the turn.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, Eldritch beats this.
Yeah, Eldritch just kind of shrugs at it.
But Eldritch is bad, so
right now Eldritch is bad. If that was tier 0, Eldritch would be good.
No, Eldritch is bad no matter what. Eldritch is just bad.
Are you saying it's bad because it's just a control strategy and you don't like control, or...
No, I love being in control.
No, I mean control strategies.
I don't like being controlled.
There you go. You just don't like control strategies, which is fair.
I don't mind control strats. I played Eldritch.
You just don't like it when other people play them.
I was bad. Now I'm good, so I don't play Eldritch anymore.
Okay, sure.
I'm going to talk down Eldritch until the prices are low enough for me to pick up the entire core. I'm going to be like, Eldritch is so good. It's the best strat in the game.
And then prices go back up, you resell and start talking. And then
right,
talk
it back again. Yeah.
And just rinse and repeat.
Exactly. If I could influence the Yu-Gi-Oh market, I like to say I wouldn't do it.
Oh, I can 100% say I wouldn't.
But I'd think about it hard.
Oh, I wouldn't even consider
If I had the ability to say, like, this card is going to be so good. You need this card now. Like Alpha, Master of Beasts. That card's going to be very good next format.
Oh, yeah.
Its Starlights are only $140. That's entirely too low. The Secrets are $8. That's entirely too low.
The Ultras are like
$2-3. Too low. So,
last time we looked.
very good. But nobody's buying out Alpha Master of Beast using our TCG Player affiliate link to buy it out and make the prices go up. And even if they did, guess what? All I've got is my one playset of Secrets, and I'm not dumping that.
Unless you're dumping them to get a playset of Starlights.
Exactly. And at that point, I'm not dumping that either. So, you know.
But I mean, if you have control, if you have that kind of control, you can just buy them out and then make the price jump.
No, the key is to not buy them out, just buy a bunch.
Yeah. And then make the price jump up, resell.
Right. People definitely do that.
Oh, yeah. I can 100% say I would never do that.
Yeah. I like to say I wouldn't, but it would be tempting.
Oh, yeah. For you, anyway. I wouldn't be.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Pure Chivalry. I'm sorry that we're not all just perfect role models of restraint and fortitude.
Oh, no. It wouldn't be a case of I wouldn't do it because it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't even think to do it.
I would.
So, yeah.
Okay, so Scythe, we agree that Scythe and Hulk have both run their course.
Yeah, they need... Scythe should never have been printed.
Well, the thing is, when Scythe was printed, it wasn't that bad of a card, because you didn't have that many ways to summon it on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, your opponent would have to actively pop it.
Right.
And of course, if you just kind of search a bunch of artifacts, set 5 pass, your opponent's not just going to be, willy-nilly heavy storming or MSTing them randomly. Because, oh, whoops, I hit the Scythe.
Yeah.
Or, oh no, I hit a Vajra.
Oh, Lord.
And now you're going to pop something.
Hand Artifact Trap Tricks hat.
Yeah.
What a deck.
God, hat format was so fun.
Yeah, I really want to go back and play that format in some retro.
Yeah, anyway. But yes, both of them have run their course and they need to go.
All right. Next, I want to talk about the Floodgate epidemic. I want to talk about the levy system. Well, let's talk about the levy system. So, I think that there is a certain amount of... Can we nickname this format the levy system format?
I mean, that's a fairly good way to put it, because every single deck that I can think of is all running a Floodgate of some kind.
Right. It's the levy system.
Except Despia, maybe. Does Despia run Floodgates?
Tikaboo.
Despia's running Floodgates, okay.
And Despia is about to start. There's a combo now coming up in Despia, because there's a Despia card that's about to release that lets you summon a card called Ido, I-D-O. It summons it to your opponent's field. Have you ever heard of Ido?
No.
Okay.
Is it an old card or is it coming out?
Oh, it's old, and it's only got one printing, and it's been bought out to the moon.
Of course.
So, Ido. Let's see. Let me get the right card. Ido, the Supreme Magical Force. It is a secret rare from Crimson Crisis, the set that released Red Dragon Archfiend. Monster, it says you cannot summon monsters. You can only control one Ido, the Supreme Magical Force. If this card is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon it from your graveyard during the next turn standby phase and destroy all other monsters you control. And you can summon it to your opponent's field in Despia. So your opponent cannot summon monsters at all.
And they can't Veiler, they can't Impermit.
Because it's on their own field.
I think that they can... Yeah, they can Chalice it, definitely, but I don't think they can...
They can Chalice it, and they can use it as material for Droplet.
Yes.
But they cannot Dark Ruler it because it's on their field. Or Imperm. Well, I say they can't Imperm or Veiler. Yeah, they cannot Imperm or Veiler.
Because it's target a monster your opponent controls for both of those.
Right. It's an interesting card.
Well, like, even if they could Veiler it, doesn't matter.
Right, because it's only during your opponent's main phase.
Yeah. However, if you know what's about to bring it out, as long as you have a negate for that.
Well, also, you can either link it off or use it as...
You can't link it off.
Oh, that's right, because you can't summon monsters.
Yeah, so like, it's pretty much if your opponent successfully
It's
puts
Chalice or Droplet. That's literally it,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
No, that's the only thing I think of is literally Chalice or Droplet.
Or Skill Drain being face up on the field.
Yeah.
So, not good. So, anyway, I have an interesting answer to the floodgates. What if we limited Anti-Spell, Tikaboo, Goes In, Rivalry,
Limited all the continuous trap floodgates.
ban Mystic Mine,
Of course, gotta ban Mystic Mine.
relimit Skill Drain because I said so. So we're at limiting Tikaboo, Skill Drain, Goes In, Rivalry, Anti-Spell, ban Mystic Mine.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other major floodgates that are problem childs right now? Oh, D-Barrier should be banned.
Fair.
Like, honestly, that card is oppressive.
And the funny thing is I haven't noticed it entirely because the last 3 decks I've played, PK, Dino into Marincess,
Marine Sus.
are link decks primarily.
I wouldn't call Dino necessarily primarily a link deck. The issue with Dino is that it can do so many things that you can't narrow it down to one.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the smart thing, that, because, like, even if you declare Synchro to stop the Borload Savage, it'll shrug and make Dolka. Or Logia.
Right.
If you declare Xyz, they'll just shrug and make Borload Savage. And then, you can't declare Link, so you can't stop them from scrap comboing you.
Yeah, so just the ability for Dino to go very specifically to so many different directions is the reason that it's not great. But in general, the issue is that it hits so many decks so prevalently. And in the current Master Rule 5, Konami has put such an emphasis on promoting not just links, but bringing synchros back to the forefront, bringing exceeds back to the forefront, and fusions and rituals.
Exceeds less so, because like a lot of the decks that can exceed use it as a secondary summoning mechanic.
Yes, to a point. I guess you could look at. I'm thinking Tri Brigade Lyrilusk was an exceed deck, but it was more of a link deck with an Xyz engine.
Yeah, like because the
And
Lyrilusks.
Zodiac.
Yeah, because the Lyrilusks were an Exceed deck,
Right.
but then they used them to pump out an F-Zero as Summon 5,
Right.
and then just kind of go through their normal Tri-Brigade stuff with the protection of F-Zero.
So, can we really say that we've had an Xyz-based deck?
Not-
That's been good?
Not recently. The closest thing is PK.
And it's not even Xyz-based.
It's... Most of it's... Okay, so like in order for it to combo off into its inboard, it had to use Break Sword,
Right.
which is an Xyz. It had to
Right.
use its Xyz monsters in order to present the inboard full of links and a fusion monster.
Right.
So technically, I guess that would count. That's not even
But Tri Brigade had to do that too.
Yeah, but it's not even a new deck. That's an old one. And then Tri-Brigade didn't even need their Exceeds, but they like to use the Lyrilusk engine to get into the Exceeds.
I'm going to be honest. I think that Drytron needed Mubeta Fafnir.
Oh, 100%. Which is...
Virtual World was an Xyz/Synchro deck.
Yeah, it was both. But they only ever made Shinshin and...
You don't finish your sentence. It's just wrong.
I mean, because all I remember them ever making out of the... that's Virtual World. Out of the extra deck was Shinshin.
Oh, okay. That's Virtual World specifically.
Yes.
They also made, I think it was Fan, which was the rank 3.
Maybe? I never.
They had a rank 3 or a rank 6 that they used a lot.
Yeah, I never saw them ever make an Exceeds whenever I was playing them. They'd always try to make the board of like Shinshin with
in the early days, when they were making VFD or even double VFD, they would also make a bamboozling gossip shadow as as
backup
as bait.
interruption.
Right. So, I would be perfectly fine limiting all of the floodgates. So,
I personally would prefer if they just kind of made like a floodgate, like for all the floodgate that are continuous traps, just make a new symbol that's just for floodgates, and you're only allowed to run one playset of that symbol.
I would even be comfortable saying you're only allowed to run 4 cards with that symbol.
Something like that, yeah.
Because I don't think limiting it to one playset is really fair. But I think limiting to 4 per deck lets you run 3 and 1, 2 and 2.
Well, what I mean is like you're allowed to run 3 cards with that symbol.
Right.
Because then that's a full playset. So you could run so you could run like 3 goes or 2 goes in a rivalry, or even just goes in a rivalry Tikaboo.
Right.
Something like that, maybe.
I agree that I think that would honestly be better, but I don't really want to change the entire mechanic system of the game.
Yeah, without creating new mechanics, I think that's our best bet, is just to limit all of them.
Right, exactly.
Or limit and or ban.
Yes, agreed. So, what would you say is the next problem child of the format?
Well, kind of put me on the spot here for a hot second. I'd probably have to say Call by the Grave.
That's a good pick.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
I mean, because you can use it defensively, you can use it offensively.
My issue with Called By is that being limited makes it feel really sacky when your opponent has it.
Yeah, it's one of those cards where I think I'd feel better about it if it was either at 3 or banned.
I honestly agree. The issue is I think at 3, it turns into Ash Blossom. Where this day and age, you always want to run at least 2 to 3. I don't think I would ever run less than 2 in a deck.
Yeah.
I feel like 3 would be maybe a little bricky.
Well, because I don't think it's a hard once per turn, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It is not.
Oh, it's not?
It is not a hard once per turn. I just pulled mine out of my deck.
Oh my.
Yeah. But
that's
again,
really
again, at 2 or 3, it feels less like you only won because you had this one random sacky one of.
More of a design choice. More a deck building choice.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Red Reboot.
Yeah, same thing. It's the sacky one of that I just prefer at 2 or 3 or banned, not at 1.
Exactly.
Because even winning because of it, because I've won entire games off of I had the Call by the Grave.
It feels sacky.
Yeah. Even on the winning end, of the deal, it just feels bad. Even if I end up not using it, just setting it, it's just like. Cool. Then my opponent goes, "Cool, activate this card effect that sends to the grave. Chain Call by the Grave."
Is this the first format that we've had in a really long time? How about this? Is it just me, or is this the first format that we've had in a long time where a lot of the issues and problems within the format doesn't feel like it comes from a specific deck or specific strategy or specific monsters?
It's an entire subsection of cards.
And really, it's the generic spell traps. That's where I find the issue is right now in the card game, is the generic spell traps.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense right now. It's like the generic spells traps and just how generic, and to a lesser extent, how generic Halka Fibrax is. The nearest thing to not making it generic is the fact that it requires a tuner and a non-tuner.
Halki Fibrax, I'll be honest, is the only card. Well, Halk and Scythe. How's that?
Scythe isn't generic, though. It requires you to deck build around it, but a lot of decks can very easily...
I think if you ban Scythe, I don't think I think if you ban Halk, I don't know that Scythe is really a problem anymore.
I mean, there's still 1 or 2 decks that can easily just natively pop Scythe itself.
But
it's nowhere near as easy.
Right. I think it becomes really inconsistent unless somebody's running things like Artifact Sanctums. But the more I think about it, I just don't think that Scythe is a necessary thing for the game to be healthy at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty. not in a good way. I don't mean,
it's just a toxic card, right?
Yeah,
At this
toxic,
point in the
that's-
game's history, it's just a toxic card.
Yeah, and should go. Halika Firebrax, it's had its time. It needs to go. It's proven time and time and again
That's a problem.
that it's a problem. Anytime a synchro, not even a synchro strategy, just a strategy that can utilize recurring tuners.
But just to kind of bring it back to where I was at, do you think that the spell traps are really more of the issue at this point
Yes,
than any
yeah.
particular monsters?
Yeah, because the only two monsters I can think of that probably they need to do anything with is exactly those two, compared to the handful of generic
Exactly.
spell traps.
So we're gonna come back to this. Let's take just a moment to talk about our sponsor. So we of course want to thank ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana for sponsoring the podcast. They are your one-stop shop for all of your card game needs, such as singles and sealed products, as well as deck boxes, binders, play mats, and more for all of your card game needs. They also have dice, tabletop figurines, paint for the figurines, books, giant tabletop mats to play on for all of your tabletop gaming needs. Also, if you want to check them out, you can find them at the link in the description down below. We absolutely recommend checking them out, and there will be another ETB Battle City Monthly coming up relatively soonish, so be sure to check that out. So,
As soon as we know, the very next episode, y'all know.
without a doubt. So, I think that there's one more card that qualifies as a floodgate, sort of, that I would like to talk about here, which is Harpy's Featherstorm.
Oh boy.
And really, by extension, the entirety of the Fluandre's deck.
Well, yeah. I mean, Harpy's Feathers. Well, I mean, the two problem cards, in my opinion, specifically Flu, is exactly Harpy's Featherstorm and Barrier Statue.
And see, to me, it's Featherstorm and Dimension Shifter.
Dimension Shifter is also a problem, but my biggest issue with the Barrier Statue is that the prevalence of the Wind Barrier Statue in the past 2 years, between Bird Up being able to just pump one out to
Right.
Flu, kind of proves that all the rest of the barrier statues are ticking time bombs, just waiting.
That's a really fair point.
Because all it needs is any archetype that'll special summon a rock or a fiend or a fairy from your deck for free to. There's a barrier statue I got to deal with now. Great.
And suddenly it's a problem.
Yeah, and like I never would even consider that until I read the Samorg link, and I was like, this thing can just pump out the wind barrier statue for free.
Because it's good.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I think that's a small reason why it got banned. The Samorg link.
Yeah, it's a huge reason that it got banned.
Yeah, because not only could it pump out the Apex Avian, it could then, like, if your opponent doesn't out both of them permanently, you then just bring out Thunderbird and get infinite negates.
Right.
And that within and of itself is disgusting.
Right.
Or the way I utilized it in Tri Brigade Lyrilusk, where I would, pump out the Apex Avian for a single negate, and then during my opponent's end phase that didn't out the Smorg, I would summon a Celestine Wagtail to get a spell card in my hand, or summon the Monster Search and get a Lyrilusk in my hand.
Right.
And then shuffle, draw for turn.
So, I'm perfectly fine banning Harpy's Featherstorm.
Same.
And what about the barrier stretch? Because I almost don't want to hit the deck too hard, right?
Yeah, but then I think we also have to do something about Dimension Shifter, because any deck that can play it can win games just off of its back.
To be fair, most of the decks that play Dimension Shifter are bad decks to begin with.
Except Flu. But to be fair, the only other thing, if
you take away D-Shifter,
then Flu,
and you take away Featherstorm,
then all they have is Rise of the Mega Monarch and the Barrier Statue.
and is it really that big of a problem at that point?
The Barrier Statue kind of is.
Sure, they cheese some wins every now and then.
Yeah, but it's nowhere near as big of a problem. Again, because then it doesn't become a question. Because it doesn't a question of, okay, so I have to have an out for this and this. Oh wait, all my stuff's getting banished, so I can't even do anything.
Right, which some decks can play through. I know that me playing Sword Soul, I can actually play through it kind of a little bit sometimes.
Sometimes it depends on your hand, I assume.
Right, for sure.
Because I don't think you can long one during that. Just long yawn or
can.
long yawn. Okay, he's discard not send from hand to graveyard.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, you don't get any of their effects when they go to the grave.
Yeah, and you also don't get any of your No, I think you can still get some of your
No, like so when I
Tinny.
synchro with Mo Yi and they go to the grave, I
you
cannot.
you don't get the draw.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I don't get the burn with Long Yon.
Yeah, but then you also still get some of your Tinnies, because some of your Tinnies effects inactivate in hand.
Right.
To banish themselves. And then,
right.
Yeah.
So
it's less than ideal, but you can make it work.
Right. So I'm fine with... I could be fine. I honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I'm fine with Dimension Shifter. I would like to see Barrier Statue gone at this point, and I really would like to see Featherstorm gone.
Yeah, but then Konami really needs to take a lesson from the Wind Barrier Statue and be really careful
when printing things in the future for the other ones
that might accidentally...
So what are the other ones? They're Aqua, Fiend,
Rock. I think it's
Pyro. Yes.
Actually, let me just Google it.
Aqua, Fiend, Rock, Pyro, and Fairy.
I think.
I think it's Fairy.
I actually
Fiend.
have, like, in one of my binders, one of each of the barrier statues.
Of course,
Just
as one does.
Just in case.
As one does.
Also, they're cool.
They are pretty cool looking.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have... Barrier Statue the Abyss, which is Fiend. Drought is a rock. I don't know why I thought it was a water one. Heavens is Fairy. Inferno, I want to say, is Pyro. Yes, Inferno is Pyro. Stormwinds is Winged Beast. And Torrent is Aqua.
Okay. I think that realistically, you could ban them all and we would all just be fine with it.
Because no one uses any of the other ones for now.
Exactly. Which is where the issue arises.
All it takes is literally, hey, send this card. You can send this card from hand to the graveyard, special summon an Aqua monster, a level 4 or lower Aqua monster from your deck.
Still waiting on Wind Up Carrier Zenmaity to be unbanned, by the way.
Oh boy, I mean, in my opinion, they also, if they unban it, they need to ban Hunter.
Nah, that'd be alright.
The reason why I think they need to ban Hunter is because then it puts your opponent on, do you have the hand trap to stop me? No, you don't get to play. You lose your hand and you cannot stop me.
Okay, you want to do some mailbag questions?
Sure.
Okay, so let's see. What about if you had to pick a single card to represent you, like in the DM episode, what would you choose and why?
Probably Medulce Chevalier.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably going Tri-Brigade Fractal. I like that card a lot. Yes.
Because he's a centaur. It's a joke.
Yeah. If you were a new player in this format with no past history of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, what would you like to be suggested on buying first to get you started on your Yu-Gi-Oh career? So I'm just gonna say, just do yourself a favor. Do not buy any sealed products unless it is a structure deck that comes with specific cards that you want.
Because then you know what you're getting.
If you see a Cyber Strike structure deck and you can spare $30, just do it and get the imperms.
Oh yeah, not only that, I actually got like an actually pretty okay deck that functions.
Same thing with the Despia deck, because you also got Ghost Ogre,
Pot of
Effect Veiler,
Pot of Extravagance.
Yes, Pot of Extravagance.
All great cards.
Right. Plus many more.
On top of, again, a 3 of this deck is incredibly functional.
Yes.
It's also incredibly easy to then buy like this $1 card here.
Yes.
$2 cross sheep. Little tiny upgrades you can do there.
But if you're going to buy an individual deck core, Eldritch is actually very cheap. I say I want the core to get cheaper. It can't get too much cheaper. because Eldritches are, I think, $4 or $5,
Yeah.
and all the spell traps are only $1 or $2 or less.
Yeah. Like, I think the only expensive card in the entire deck is exactly Skill Drain.
Right, and you don't even have to play that version of Eldritch. The things I would have if I was a new player getting into the game, I'd have a Virtual World core. I would have a Tri-Brigade core.
Extra Brigade core is incredibly cheap.
Virtual World is $10 for the entire core. Virtual World, Tri-Brigade, Eldritch. Those are the 3 cores that I would have. Then as far as staples, I would pick up things like Effect Veiler,
Forbidden Chalice.
Ghost Ogre,
Yeah,
Forbidden Chalice.
really cheap. Really cheap.
If you can find them at a good price or find the structure decks, I would pick up Imperm, Farby's Feather Duster, Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclones. Things that you need to have.
Yeah, that are all like surprisingly cheap, actually.
Yes.
Even though when people in Yu-Gi-Oh say staples, it makes people think, oh, expensive.
Cards like Ash Blossom are,
Yeah.
but other cards are not.
Ash Blossom, Nibiru, Lightning Storm, Triple Tactus Talents. They are expensive, but there's also some very inexpensive copies. DD
Right.
Crow, which is probably one of the more popular hand traps right now, it's not expensive.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you can probably get a playset for $9.
If you can wait till the Megatins, you can get some good deals
Yes.
on some deck cores too. Because
Oh yeah.
some things are going to come in mass in the Megatins.
Oh yeah, no, because like last year's Megatin, like before last year's Megatin, the Tri-Brigade core is actually kind of expensive.
Yes, because
Kind of.
Fractals were in the $25 to $30 range.
And then the Megatins got announced, and Fractals dropped to like 10, 15 a piece.
Yeah.
And then when the Megatins came out is when everything went to the most expensive card in the entire deck being $5 for the kit, which you needed 2 of, I think.
3.
Yeah, I need 3 kits. Okay. Right, I ran in Lorelowski only ran 2.
Yes. What card do you want off the ban list? Wind Up Carriers M80. No contest.
Fair.
You?
Same with the asterisk, but if it was a card to take off the ban list without an asterisk, it'd probably be Blaster.
That's fair. What card do you want to see on the ban list? Scythe.
Yeah.
Scythe.
If I had to pick one,
Scythe.
Scythe.
If
I had to pick exactly one, Scythe.
Are generic boss monsters good or bad for the game, and why?
I personally believe that generic boss monsters that literally any deck can run are awful.
Agreed. Baron is horrible for the game.
Now, boss monsters that are specific in some way, shape, form, or fashion, I think they're perfectly fine.
If you look at Naturia Beast and Naturia Barkion, those are such powerful cards. And they will never... Okay, hold on, let me back up. They very rarely, if ever, see super strong meta play because there is a difficulty in getting them out because of their requirements.
Yeah, because like Beast is level 5, which by itself, there's not a whole lot of synchro decks that have been printed that specifically aim for level 5
Right.
that are also Earth-centric.
Yes. Other than One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh!, what's your favorite anime?
One Punch Man.
I gotta go Demon Slayer.
Listen, Demon Slayer is a very close second.
Yeah. What's your second besides Demon Slayer?
Oh, okay, so One Punch Man.
Because I guess I did walk myself into that.
Yeah, so One Punch Man, Demon Slayer. Third favorite?
I like how you said besides One Piece, because I've been talking about One Piece nonstop.
Yeah. Besides One Piece, Demon Slayer, and One Punch, probably Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho 100.
Okay.
Which is written by the same guy who wrote One Punch Man.
I might actually go something that people are going to laugh at me for. I think I would go Assassination Classroom.
Listen, Assassination Classroom is good.
I agree. Don't get me wrong. I already know people say. I love Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen.
I like Jujutsu Kaisen. I just can't with it. I just can't get into Attack on Titan.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Now, I will say this. The artwork for Attack on Titan, fantastic.
Right.
I just can't get into it.
There's just something that you just dislike about it.
It's not even that I dislike it. I just, can't get into it. It's weird. It is
a little bit on the weird side.
It's not. No, I don't mean it's weird. I mean it's weird that I can't get into it. It should be checking all my check marks, but even back when when I was reading it before it was Attack on Titan,
Right.
just Shingeki no Kyojin, I got through the first 5 chapters, which were all that were out at that time. I was like, this is great. Never went back to it.
See, okay, that was my problem with Attack on Titan for the longest. There was
And
like a 6-year wait between anime seasons or something stupid like that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that if
I think it's 4, but still.
I'm pretty sure if I sat down, I would enjoy it, but I think it would probably go the way of like the original Full Metal Alchemist in my head.
Oh, we didn't even think about Brotherhood.
Well, yeah. Well, okay.
Full
so
Metal
like,
Alchemist Brotherhood.
for me, after Mob Psycho 100, it just gets super muddy.
Right, that's my thing.
Where I can't put ranks to anything. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
this is cool. This is great. This is cool.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh, man. Goodness gracious. Could we remove choosing who goes first or second? Decks will not be able to build specifically for going first or second, or side for going first or second, so floodgates would be less reliable, and main deck back row removal would be necessary, and consistency everywhere drops. This is interesting.
That is interesting to think about.
I'm still a big fan of neither player drawing for turn on the first turn, but player 2 just starting with 6 cards in their hand.
So like whenever the game starts, you figure out who goes first, second.
Right,
The guy who's going first draws 5, skips a draw phase.
right.
The guy who's going second draws 6.
And still skips their draw phase.
That would be interesting because then your opponent has that 6th slot for a hand trap.
Yes.
But then, in my opinion, that makes going second a little more powerful than going first, and then you just always build for going second.
Does it though?
Yes, because unless you also institute the players don't get to pick. It like let's say you do the die roll, whoever wins the die roll has to go first.
That would be interesting. I like the opportunity to choose because I think that the ability for building to go first or second adds a really cool element to the game, and it adds an enormous amount of deck building. I'm playing Sword Soul right now, and because the deck already has a natural penchant for going second, it makes me wonder if I should lean into that maybe and build a specifically going second version of the deck.
Yeah, like dedicate the deck to going second.
Exactly.
Which back when I played Dino, I've in fact gone with a going second build of Dino where I was main decking Dark Rulers.
Exactly.
That was really fun.
Right.
Just to watch, just for me to kind of sit there and go, yep, yeah, you got it. Yep, that's cool. Yep,
Yeah.
My opponent go full board, and I'm just like, cool, my turn. Dark Ruler no more.
I mean,
And
yeah.
that exact reaction, just silence.
Yeah.
And then just going full Dino and OTKing.
How do you feel about erratas? More specifically, errata is meant to change how a card functions rather than clarify what it does and does not do.
I hate it. I do not like it.
I agree. What about when they peel cards off the ban list because they got an errata? Like something even as simple as a hard once per turn.
Okay, so if they're errating something to just something that did not have a hard once per turn, adding the hard once per turn, technically qualifies as changing how it works. But I'm still perfectly fine like that because it's actually fixing something that at the time when the card was printed wasn't a problem.
Right, and became a problem later.
Yeah.
There are a few erratas that have actually changed the design of how a card works that, I'll be honest, I'm really, really cool with. I think one of the best errata cards in the game's history is Sangan, actually.
And to a lesser extent, Witch of the Black Forest, because they got the same errata.
No, Witch's errata was bad, because Witch is useless.
Well, no, because...
Sangan is still playable.
Yeah, but that's just due to Sangan letting you search on any hand trap.
Or Crusadia Arborea.
Yes, compared to...
Because you can normal summon Sangan, link it off into, I think, Almirage, or maybe... Yeah, I think it's Almirage.
Search Arborea.
Special Arborea, and you have a link 2 play.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you just can't activate.
Sangan is one card out combo.
Yeah, however, with Witch, though, she literally has the exact same text as Sangan, but instead of saying attack, she says defense.
Right. But she's just not played. I think the Witch errata was a little bit more strict than you may be thinking.
I mean, last time I looked, they had the exact same text, but I also haven't looked at it in a while, and I could be misremembering. I do that.
I know that was the original. Okay. I think it actually is pretty much the same errata. If it's sent from the field to grave, add one monster with 1500 less defense from deck to hand, but you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards of that name for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, for those you wondering, with Arboreus special summon from hand, that's not an effect, that's a summoning condition.
Correct. It's a summon that does not start a chain, so no effects are activated.
Yeah, exactly. So you can still summon it underneath. Now, the reason why Witch isn't played, I think, is entirely due to the fact that Songen can search more hand traps. So worst case scenario, you can search Witch of the Black Forest can search for Effect Veiler or DD Crow.
If you want to be honest, I think it's because Sangan is a level 3.
That's also probably.
Wait, hold on, wait. I might be an idiot. Which also might be level 3.
She's level 4.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Okay. It might have something to do with Sangan being level 3. Also, Witch has 1100 attack.
Ooh, that's fair.
So she
and
can't go into Almirage. That's part of it, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, even ignoring that, Songen can search a lot of things that are better now than what Witch can. Witch can't search any of the Ghost Girls. Songen can.
Right. I think, though, that when it comes to erratas, I'm fine with something like Sangan.
Because they didn't change the way the card functions, it still does the exact same thing it did before.
It's just pretty much nerfed for today's day and age.
Yeah, and like doing something like that or adding a hard once per turn, I'm fine with.
They also added hard once per turn to both of those cards.
Yeah. The erratas that really kind of made me go, ugh.
Sinister Serpent.
Sinister
They
Serpent
could have
is a
brought
good
that
one.
card back unerrated, and it would have been fine.
Another one is actually one that I discovered recently when Crush card.
Yep. Ring of Destruction.
Yeah, neither one of those cards work the same way anymore.
Not even a little bit. Not even close.
Yeah. Like,
I have a huge problem with erratas that change the entire way that a card functions. Not even by a little bit, but by a lot.
Yeah.
That bothers me a lot.
Yeah, but like the number one errata where I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine, is when they reprint old cards that haven't had problem-solving card text, they re-errata it to have...
Right.
That's perfect. I love that. Keep doing it.
Honestly, yeah. I don't want you to change how the card functions. I want you to change...
the way it's worded.
Exactly, and add problem-solving card text, which it specifically says, don't worry about problem-solving card text.
Oh, okay.
But I agree. Problem-solving card text is fine.
Yeah, but like outside of that, hard once per turns are fine on things that weren't already a hard once per turn.
Right.
And then like maybe some more stipulations on one or two things, like the song gonna end, like Witch of the Black Forest. I'm fine with that.
Right.
Again, Crush card, and
Future Fusion,
stuff like that.
Ring of Destruction, Sinister Serpent, all
awful, terrible,
butchered. Okay, so I think that'll wrap it up. A little bit shorter episode today, but I think that'll be fine, don't you?
Yeah, it'll be perfectly fine.
We're going to have a pretty cool episode coming Tuesday, so be sure to tune in on Tuesday because it's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I was about to say interesting.
So be sure to come back Tuesday. Tell all your friends. Tell everybody that you know. Be sure to follow us and subscribe on YouTube if you enjoyed the content, things like that. And of course, if you want to support the podcast, you can do so at Patreon through the link in the description down below. Also through our TCG Player affiliate link and Dragon Shield. Be sure to check out Millennium Threads. And of course, be sure to check out Team Darkroom Dealings in ETB. And if you're interested in doing our remote duel locals, those happen every Thursday at 7 o'clock, provided we have enough people. We try to get at least 6 to 8 for minimum. But it's free to enter, a lot of fun. Be sure to check them out. But I think that'll wrap us up. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Take care, everybody.